To continue on with the material from Chapter 8 here, this particular podcast is going to focus on just a couple of pieces of software for you when it comes to digital content creation. So what I'll tell you is, sooner or later, every business is going to have to look at itself and say, look, our customers are expecting it's called a rich media experience, right? So when you go to a web page now, when you go any place now, what you are going to look for is audio and video, to help you learn about something, right? So if you want to learn about digital photography, if you want to learn about podcasting, if you want to learn about video, right? You go someplace and you go to YouTube and you look it up, right? And all of that is fine. All of that's good. Like, I use YouTube to help me with my video editing stuff all the time. But sooner or later, you're going to switch your role there, right? You're going to switch from somebody who just consumes content to somebody who has to actually create that content. So whether or not that is, you're going to, start your own Twitch stream, you're going to start your own podcast, you're going to be looked at by your employer as somebody who's got a background and a skill set with this stuff, and you're going to have to create. So with this little screencast, I thought what I would tell you or help you locate is a couple of really good free pieces of software to help you get started. So here in our Chapter 8 data dump page, after the image resources, we have for you here some video and some audio resources. What I will tell you is there are built-in tools, whether or not you are on a Mac or a PC, that'll help you record screencasts like I'm doing right now. I actually do this from a Mac, and I use QuickTime because it's baked in and I just need a little less software to be able to do it. And then when I edit the videos together, I use Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Pro costs money. And actually up until this year, I did it with free software. I used iMovie and I actually used this one, VSDC. VSDC has a video editor, a video converter, an audio converter, an audio CD grabber, and it also has a free screen grabbing tool. So you can do screen capture movies all for free. This is a really fantastic tool. It's called a nonlinear video editor, which is just like all of the pros would use. The best part is it's free. And it's available on all platforms. So if you are on a Mac or a PC, you are going to be able to use VSDC. The other one, I'm sure many of you have thought about, this is the one I'm going to have to mention here, which is Obs Studio. That stands for Open Broadcaster Software. If you have seen somebody, on a YouTube video doing a walkthrough, if you have seen somebody, on YouTube or Twitch or whatever doing a screen cast, this is where that comes from. OBS turns out to be pretty great because what you're seeing here is part of the green screening that you can do built in. So if you have a flat color behind you, you can actually use one piece of the input to stream behind you, which looks great for streaming. It adds a layer of complexity for just video recording. But it adds a layer of necessity for live streaming. These are the two pieces of software I would suggest until you get really, really big, until you get really, really complicated. You can probably live for years inside of OBS Studio and VSDC free without having to do any upgrades at all. There are other softwares that you can use. The textbook here suggests you can see it here in the screenshot, Adobe Premiere Pro CC. CC stands for Creative Cloud, which means you pay for it every month. As a student, you can pay $20 a month or $240 a year for just Adobe Premiere Pro, which is a huge professional grade, scary as hell piece of software for most beginners. And I actually suggest that, yeah, it does a great job. I use Adobe Premiere Pro, not just for these little screencast videos that I do here, but for other production stuff that I do on the side. And I'll tell you, most people never need everything that Premiere Pro does. So when you go work in Hollywood, yeah, okay, great, use it. But for the rest of us, for the rest of the time, really, VSDC, that's this one that I just closed. VSDC and OBS Studio are going to do just fine. So that's video. The very last portion here is for audio. What I will tell you is Audacity is used by like 80% or more of all of the podcasts that you have listened to. Audacity is an outstanding open source free piece of software that you can see it here. I would demonstrate that I have used and use Audacity for all of the audio only podcasts I put together. Probably I have used Audacity, but I have a version of the OS on my Mac right here is too new for this version of Audacity and it won't run. So I've had to go back to Adobe Audition, which is the supercharged version of this, which again costs money. I don't like paying money for stuff. So I actually prefer Audacity because it's free, it's itty bitty small, and it does a fantastic job. Like literally, if you hit record like you see right here, it records. If you hit stop, it stops. If you hit play, it plays. That's all you need to know about it. And you have a piece of software that can help you develop real quality broadcast material for nothing. So between these three pieces of software here, you can do any and all of your audio and video, whether or not for personal or business, pretty much forever if you choose to. So those links I have for you here: VSDC free, OBS, and Audacity.